Are you up for an adventure? I certainly am. I've just come back from a fantastic therapy session and I walked to the next town and I'm walking back now down this beautiful lane and feeling very, very positive. And you don't have to do massive things to have adventure in your life, to have excitement, to have joy. Take a different route to work. Go for a different walk at the weekend. You find the beauty around you and make it your choice. This is something that I'm really discovering, is that absolutely everything that you do is your choice. And there will be the naysayers and the doom mongers who say, oh, well, yeah, Martin, but, what if you've got no money? And what if, you're in prison and you're a political prisoner? Blah, all this. People will come at you with all of these examples. It's like, okay, yeah, there's shit happening in the world. But here's the question. What exactly are you doing about it? What's anybody doing about anything? Watched this fantastic podcast this morning with a nutritional expert called Clive DeCarl on my favourite podcast, the Dellingpod, with James Dellingpole. Fabulous, brilliant. Look him up on Substack, dellingpole.substack.com. Not an endorse, I don't get paid, but it's really, really brilliant. And he gets fantastic guests. And at this one point, it's like, oh, well, James is a down the rabbit hole kind of person, and to whom absolutely nothing in the world is true at the moment because everything has been a lie. But, it's quite an extreme position, to be honest. But, I admire and I share his sense of wanting to find the truth. But this chap, Clive DeCarl, says, well, when asked about particular events that are going on in the world, Clive's response, he's a very calming person, it's very nice actually, brings you back down to earth. And the truth is, he said, well, I only focus on the things that I can control, finding the solutions, because there are all of these massive issues in the world, but what are you doing about them? What can you do about them? And how are we actually as individuals going to improve the lot of people? Well, looking after our own health, physical and emotional, I think is a really, really great place to start. And if you can take what people would think as mundane things, like if you're working, which most people are, if you're working, well, how do you put in excitement into that? And we shrug off and we ignore all of the old sort of sage adages that we've grown up with, like get off whichever bus that you get 2 or 3 stops before you get to work, and take a little walk, discover the area that you actually work in, be there, immerse yourself in these things. It's actually a very simple thing to do, but not very many people do it. But you'll find that the people that do, I keep stopping because there are cars coming by. But what a difference would it make for you to have a bit of variety in your life and arrive at work having discovered where it is that you actually are? Because I think presence, being conscious, is a fantastic way of actually grounding yourself and leaving room to find the solutions, to the bigger issues in your life. We have to have room, to actually discover the truth. We can't do truth seeking when we're stressed or when we're angry, when we're, resentful. And what I want to impress upon you, because it's worked for me, is when you actually start to get present, you find yourself much calmer, much healthier, and all of the basics of life really fall into place. You know, eating, exercising, sleeping, all of these things you'll get into your own natural rhythm. Because we're out of whack. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that we're out of whack, we're confused, we're overloaded. And if you're truly present in your surroundings, I remember when I was working in the centre of London, people would often call up for directions to find us. And my colleagues would always hand it over to me and say, oh, my colleague Martin will be able to help you. And after the conversation was over, Martin, how do you know all of these things? How do you know the road names, and how do you know the routes to get here? Well, simple. I go out at lunchtime. You know, I go out and I wander around and I explore. I'm curious, and maybe that is just a totally instinctive and natural thing in me. It certainly feels like it, and maybe that's not native, you know, to other people, but it certainly gives you an edge, being able to find your way around. And even if you're in a scrape, a temporary one, you can always find your way out to the light at the end of the tunnel.